Hello, everyone. Welcome back. I am joined today by Caleb Sweethands Plant, the IBF super middleweight champion. Caleb, how are you enjoying your days so far in the pandemic? But most importantly, what have you learned from yourself in this pandemic?
Um, I know it's definitely a difficult situation that the world's going through. And I've said in some other interviews, everybody is suffering in some way, shape, or form. Everybody's going through it. Some issues are bigger for other families, and but everybody's going through something, and they're having to, you know, it's a tough situation. So, but for me, I've been in the gym training. We got a great gym at the house as well. So I've been running. Other than that, just in the house. So
Absolutely. And 2019 was such a roller coaster year for you with the tragedies that you had to deal with as well as also becoming a champion as well too. And now you have to deal with a global a pandemic that is really kind of setting back the sport as a whole. Before this, though, you had another dominating win in your homecoming in Tennessee. Um, and shortly afterwards, just a few days afterwards, there was some big conversations and discussions about you perhaps taking on one Canelo Alvarez on May 5th. As we all know, we haven't had boxing since March.
yeah.
And that fight that was originally discussed never came to be. The, I don't see any reason why the fight can't be made now, considering originally you had some qualms about getting back into training camp immediately, but I feel that fight could be made now. What are your thoughts on perhaps being the next opponent for Canelo Alvarez?
It's something I'm definitely interested in. It's something that I want. That's a fight that I've vocally, I've told boxing reporters and people before that I want. At the time to come out of a fight February 15th and then turn right back around in very beginning of May and fight, that's, no world-class fighter is doing that. I know that Andy Ruiz did that, but he wasn't even a world champion at the time. He had not solidified himself as a world-class fighter yet. I've solidified myself as a world-class fighter, and I demand the type of respect that a world-class fighter gets. And that's not short notice fights. That's not, people say that, well, people used to fight much more frequently, but they also stopped doing that. So why did they stop doing that? If that's so great, why haven't they kept that up? So, and it's an even playing field when every fighter's doing that. It's not an even playing field when all these fighters aren't, and then one fighter is being tossed in. And what I said I needed a break from was not the fight that I had, because as everyone's seen, I didn't take a lot of punishment. It's the training camp, the miles, the sprints, the being abstinent, just all the discipline. Maybe other fighters, they're not as disciplined in camp, so it's not as tough for them. But me, I don't cut any corners. So if he's the world's best fighter, then why would I not get the appropriate time to, prepare for that?
Yeah, definitely. I feel as if perhaps you were backed into a corner immediately after a fight and, forced to make a decision.
And the thing is they never even sent an offer of own money. It was a secondary guy who reached out to our team, and it never even went past that. So it's not like their plan this whole time was to fight Billy Joe Saunders. So it's not like, things were still up in the air. They knew what they were doing. I had just come off a really good performance. My viewership was really high, and it's almost like a way to take that away from me.
Do you feel as if when Canelo Alvarez is making fights, considering he's in a position where he can choose from a pool of per se 10 opponents, he pits opponents one against the other to perhaps have a leverage situation when it comes to financials?
What do you mean?
As far as making sure, let's say bringing in a Caleb Plant when at the end of the day he's negotiating with Billy Joe Saunders. Do you feel like you had a legitimate opportunity to perhaps
No.
opponent for him?
No, I don't feel like I was a legitimate opponent. Like that I was a legitimate pick. They weren't going to fight me May 5th. You know,
Hmm.
they were already, you know, this close to fighting Billy Joe Saunders, if not already, you know, had something um, ready to go. So I don't think that I was. Again, like I said, I think they were just trying to rain on my parade, but you can't rain on my parade. You know?
Right. Oscar De La Hoya came out and said you kind of blew the opportunity of a lifetime, but it seems as if you're still in the conversations. Canelo Alvarez trainer Eddie Reynoso said recently that you are one of the opponents that they're looking at in Canelo's next comeback fight. As you know, Canelo and Triple G are on a path to fade each other. There might be some interim bouts in the meantime. Now it goes whether or not they want to reignite those Saunders talks or perhaps look in an entirely new direction. Do you have any conversations picked up again since that original one back in February?
No, not yet. But I know that I'm in the conversation, you know. So um, Oscar doesn't pick who Canelo fights. You think Oscar picks who Canelo fights, or you think Canelo picks who Canelo fights? So for
Yeah,
him to say,
definitely.
you know, that I'll never get an opportunity, it's not even up to him. So, and if so, then why am I already in the talks and the conversation so quickly? You know, so I mean, again, they're just trying to rain on my parade. They were trying to, but that's not going to work. So, you know, I'm a world-class fighter. I'm following my own path. I don't answer to him. I don't answer to Canelo. I don't answer to any other of these champions at 168, whether you're with PBC or Golden Boy or whoever you are. I don't answer to anybody. So, you know, I'll get my chance. And me and Canelo, you know, we'll have our showdown. But they have to come. You got to come correct. Otherwise, you know, you're not going to fool me. So.
Do you feel professionally you are ready to take on a fight of a lifetime at this moment?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, I feel like I'm the best 168-pound champ that there is. I feel like I'm the most well-rounded. I feel like I have the most boxing IQ. I feel like that you know, I feel like I have you know, I feel like I have all the tools to be every champion. All of them are good at this or that, but I don't feel like they can make it, you know, the adjustments that I can. So.
Do you feel as if you are not given the credit that you deserve? Perhaps you might be the most underappreciated champion in that division right now.
Yeah, for sure. Absolutely.
What do you
Absolutely.
think that is?
Uh, it's not the best time to get into all that right now, to be honest. You know, there's some things going on in the world that are, you know, kind of some things that are going on in the world that are more important. I think everybody knows why. It's not something that I have to, you know, bring to light. It's already at the forefront. So, um, but you know, I'm looking to change that narrative. I'm looking to, you know, erase some stereotypes and but you know, till then I can just keep doing all I can do, which is get my hand raised. You know, I came in, fought Jose. Everyone said this was going to happen, that was going to happen. I schooled him. You know, I haven't had a close fight yet. I haven't been knocked down. I haven't taken an 8 count. I've hardly lost any rounds, and it's not like all my peers are fighting much better competition than I am. So, you know, I don't know.
Yeah, and you know these are conversations that we've had in the past before, and I think what you're referring to is the unfortunate national climate that we're in regards to race. With you being a white champion, of course, you are in a biracial marriage, but it seems as if you think you don't get the credit because you're one of the rare white champions, and especially at a heavier weight. And the stereotypes, unfortunately, they do exist in every sport, and that's something I think that you've been really championing against with the platform that you've been presented over the last year and a half as a champion. Do you feel that you're ready to, those barriers need to be broke down in boxing, perhaps more than other sports as well too?
I think, hmm, I think as much as maybe they need to be broke down in boxing, you know, they should be broke down probably in life,
Right.
more importantly, you know. So that's something that I have dealt with my whole life. But I mean, you know, there's a lot of other people, you know, dealing with the same thing and in a more extreme way as well. So again, that's you know, that's a discussion for another time. So.
Absolutely. And when you talk about getting into the ring, how soon do you envision yourself getting back in there? Some serious momentum is being built right now for the sport to resume. Where do you see yourself in that picture? How soon could we expect Caleb Plant in the ring?
Um, Definitely by the end of the year. You know, I think I'm in a special situation where I'll be one of the few who fight twice this year, and so definitely by the end of the year. So sometime in the fall, late fall, early winter, maybe something like that. So still looking into everything, trying to get all the details and seeing how the landscape falls. But until then, just know that it'll be before the end of the year.
Are there any opponents that are on the short list at this point? Canelo and Benavidez aside, are there any fighters that are on the short list for who that you might be fighting?
Really, uh, you know, I want a unification match. That's what I want. So, um, as of recent, you know, there was a video that I found myself where, you know, David's promoter was talking about that the fight won't happen in 2020. That him and his team feel like, you know, that fight needs to wait. It needs to be down the road. It needs to simmer more, and people need to pay more money for it. And you know, you don't have to take my word for it. There's something I put it on my social media actually because you know some people think that they don't know the truth, you know, and it's in boxing they're going to be less likely to believe me, you know, over him, and that's cool. But when the time comes and when the dust settles, they're going to see. So if I can't get a unification match or you know, another big fight, then I'll just keep on my time because that's the fight that I want. So
You mentioned the truth. What is it?
that the reason that there's a hold up on this fight is not because of me. It has nothing to do with me.
Mm-hmm.
So, and you know, you don't have to take my word for it. You don't have to believe me. There's literally, you know, visual proof of his, you know, his team, his promoter saying that they don't want to have that fight right now. So it doesn't matter how bad I want to fight. It doesn't matter how bad I want to make the fight happen. You know, it takes two to dance, and I can't force anybody's hand in there with me. So until they have a change of heart, until they change their minds, you know, it'll just be a whole lot of wishing, I guess. So.
You both have been on a collision course when you both respectively became champions in 2019, and some momentum was being built, crossing paths together at each other's fights. How soon do you think that fight could happen? I was talking with Steven Espinoza a couple of weeks ago, and a fight between you and Benavidez was actually on his wish list to return with Showtime Boxing in the near future. How soon do you think a Benavidez fight could happen?
I don't know. I'm not sure. I mean, we just kind of, you know, like I just said, you know, I can't force anybody's hand in there with me. So if it was up to me, I'd be able to give you a date and a time and a place. But like I said, it takes two to dance. So, but I mean, you know, he's been fighting on Showtime. I've been fighting on Fox. You know, Fox is a much bigger platform with more views. So if he's the bigger fighter, why don't they have him on the bigger platform? You know, his views aren't like mine. Check my last fight. How many people came out? So I think if a fight of that magnitude, I would respectfully think that that's going to be on Fox. You know, the bigger platform with the bigger viewership. So, but when that'll happen, I mean, I can't tell you. So.
We're seeing Top Rank, some of their fighters come back with the champions actually taking on, 10-round fights, some at catch weights, some against.
No, I'm not going to be a no catch weight. I'm not going to be a no 10-round fight. I'm a world championship 12-round fighter who will fight at his weight class, 168. I'm 12, 13 pounds from weight right now. I'm in shape right now. I've been running. The only thing I haven't been doing is sparring because, again, that's something that takes two. So, and we got some, a pandemic on our hands. So, but there will be no 10-round fights. I'm a world-class fighter. No catch weights.
What, who are, aside from Benavidez and Canelo, these are some of the two of the biggest fights that could be made in your career. Let's say these fights need a little bit more time for the business sake of boxing, which I think handicaps a lot of the big fights that fans want to see. Who are some of the opponents that you're really eyeing and targeting as far as legitimate fights for you?
I mean, if it's not a unification match or a big fight, then it really don't matter to me. I really don't care who it is. But just know that if you're not one of them champions and if you're not one of those big fights and I can't, if I can't get a big fight with one of those guys, then once we do sign, it's going to be, you do got a fight on your hands. So, but again, if it's not a unification match, then, for the fans watching this, they don't care who it is, just like I don't care who it is. I want unification match.
Right. And you said you're going to be fighting at your division at 168. And we've seen how Canelo has kind of controlled three different divisions at once right now at 160, 168.
He's not controlling 168. He's
175. Well, as far as picking the fights that he wants to partake in, would you be interested in perhaps moving up or down divisions at this point, or 168 is really where you're going to be in the future?
This is where 168 is where I'm at. Canelo is not controlling 168. I'm controlling 168. So, I mean, I'm going to be right here for a minute. When all the middleweights move up from 160 to 168, I'll be here waiting on them. So that's how I'm going to be here for a minute.
Gotcha. What I meant, just to clarify from my end, what I meant from controlling 168, meaning the matchups that he could create for himself as far as the big fights and going straight into kind of picking and choosing who he wants to fight. And Caleb, I'll let you go away with this one. What is one goal that you want to accomplish in 2020?
Just to remain undefeated, defend my title for a third time, and just keep, just stay on the path, stay on the straight and narrow, just remain disciplined, and just, to focus on the task at hand. So.
Fantastic, Caleb. Well, looking forward to covering your journey and seeing you back into the bright light soon. Wishing you much health and success moving forward, and looking to reconnect on the next fight night.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you, Caleb.